I think I'm right in saying James was, round about 7 when your husband had a stroke.
Yes.
Take us back.
Yes. It was November 2013. My husband was a very active person, and then one day he just collapsed and blue lighted to the RUH, and they said he's had a stroke. And I said, no, he couldn't have had a stroke. He was in the roof yesterday doing some plumbing. And they said, but he has. And it was the result of a DVT from a long-haul flight to Thailand to see our son.
It just shows how something like that can be so unexpected.
Yes.
And it must have been profound and shocking and a terrible experience.
It was.
But James, what do you remember of that?
So, it was sort of very tricky time, I think, when it first happened, because I was still in primary school, and I remember being pulled out after school by like my friend's mum, because my mum was at the hospital with Granny Julie and the whole family, I think. And then I think my mum came to pick us up, and we weren't allowed to go straight to the hospital because they've got all sorts of rules about children in certain areas, and I think it was all very sort of new and they didn't know what was happening straight away, and it was all a bit stressful.
Can you remember how you felt at the time, that suddenly your pop's healthy one day, that the next day completely unable to communicate with you?
So I think it was very, very weird, especially as like a young child, to experience it, because like, I mean, I had friends whose like grandparents had passed away and things like that, but that hadn't happened, and it was sort of like he was very much still there, but it was different at the same time, because you can communicate like he used to, but he still sort of wanted to say all the same things, and yes,
still very much there.
Yes,
knowing who you are, but not able to communicate too well. And Julie, I think he is doing well. He's still very much with us.
He's very much with us. This happened 12 years ago now, and it's been a challenge sometimes, but I've tried to encourage him to do all sorts, and at the moment the big thing is he's having some golf lessons. So at Cumberwell in Bradford-on-Avon, an excellent coach who's encouraging him, and no longer do people come in the house and say, how are you feeling, Paul? They come in and they say, how's the golf going? So very much a different feeling about how Paul's coping.
And James, the experience with your grandfather and how he's coped and how the family have coped since have really been the inspiration for you producing this book. And it's aimed at a particular market and a particular age group. Explain why that is.
So I sort of thought, I was doing lots of research into it during the sort of early stages of the project, and there was a lot online about FAST, which is the sort of method of quickly diagnosing and noticing that somebody's had a stroke, but there was sort of nothing post-stroke to really support and help people. So after our experience, I sort of found that lots of people, and they still don't really know how to act and don't really understand what's going on and how they can help. So I sort of thought, as a child when it happened, that I had that sort of special insight into like how it sort of feels to be a child in this situation, and like the things you can do, because you sort of want to be helpful, but you don't know what's helpful and what's not helpful.
Is that how you found yourself? You and your sister, you've got a younger sister.
Yeah.
At the time your pops had this, did you feel, how can I help, what can I do?
Yes, I think you want to help, but you feel quite helpless because you don't know what's being helpful and what's not, so it's really tricky. So I think it's tricky to sort of figure out how you can help, and I was sort of like pointing people in the right direction and invoking like tricky conversations within families where this has occurred, with the help of the book.
So what is the age range you're aiming Lottie Helps Out at?
So I was sort of thinking between 4 and 7ish, which is sort of like reasonably young, because that's the ages that me and my sister were when it happened.
What sort of response have you had to your book?
So I took it to a focus group of a couple of children, between the ages of 3 to 11, and I think for the 3-year-old it was like quite adult content, quite serious. But I think from 4 upwards they seemed to sort of understand what was happening a bit more behind it.
And officially, from bodies like the Stroke Association, I think they were pretty impressed, weren't they?
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to have a conversation with the CEO of the Stroke Association and Beverly Pace, who runs Back on Track, who has been amazing to my grandfather especially, which is a more local stroke charity. And they both gave me feedback as I went through, and
Julie, I know he's your grandson, and you're going to be biased anyway.
I
but
am.
You've looked at the book. How do you think a book like that is going to be helpful for young people, for children?
Definitely, because if I'd had that when Paul had his stroke, it would have been really good to have given it to them and read it out to them.
To help them understand?
To help them understand, especially with the communication problem, because his words come out jumbled, or he couldn't place the word because that was how it affected him. So I would have found that very helpful, and we've spoken to the stroke consultant at the RUH Stroke Chippenham, who she's got some copies now, so I think she thinks it's going to be helpful as well. So there you go.
It is available in all good bookshops?
It's available on Amazon. Yeah.
Okay, you get it on Amazon.
Yes.
And obviously you're hoping that many copies are sold.
Yes. So what I was really hoping for, though, like the outcome to be, was for it to be given out by sort of stroke charities free of charge for people who have had a family member who has had a stroke, to sort of help them. So at the minute, if you buy it on Amazon, all the money made from that goes to the Stroke Association and Back on Track, which is the other stroke charity.
To enable them to hand out.
Yeah, to enable them to do what they're doing and helping people.
That's absolutely fantastic. Now, this project was also part of your A-level syllabus?
So it's like an additional subject that you can do to help you, further.
And you've just finished your A-levels.
Yes.
And do we describe it as quietly confident at the moment?
Holding out hope for,
Well, you're already down, aren't you, for a degree course at the University of Bristol?
Yeah, so I've accepted and firmed an offer at University of Bristol for their medical course.
You're going to be a doctor?
Hopefully, yes.
Well, congratulations on what you've done. Julie, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And thank you both very much indeed.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.